Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you had a very good lunch. We're starting the first workshop in the parallel sessions today, and I'm so pleased to be with you today to lead and moderate this important panel. We've been involved at ICCROM. I come from ICCROM, by the way, and we've been involved in this subject for about 2 years. My colleague Aparna Tandon, who's sitting here with us, also had held a conference on climate, culture, peace, and that is really focusing on the role of culture in this context. Today we've heard a lot of comments from the previous panel. I'm so sorry, I just want to open the names of the panel. And I think it was so insightful to think about many things that were discussed in the previous panel, but also in the morning, focusing on people, focusing on culture, and also focusing perhaps on policy and how culture can play a major role in addressing issues of climate change. I don't know what's that. Okay. So I'm very pleased today to welcome our speakers to have, some insightful information from the field, but also from the institutions, and I'm sure that the presentations that will show us will be quite insightful to reach and see what kind of vision ALIPH will have to take forward after addressing areas of conflict and how these areas can feed into issues of climate change. So allow me to welcome with us Dr. Heba Aziz, the director of the Arab Regional Center for World Heritage from Bahrain. Please, Heba. And our second speaker is Mr. Mohammed Hassan from Niger, from Iman Aktira. Iman al-Tarikh, I'm so sorry, Iman al-Tarikh. And the third speaker with us will be Mr. Ra'ad al-Asadi from Iraq, who will be talking about the marshlands. Please, Ra'ad. And last but not least, we have also Mrs. Marie-Georges Pagel-Brousse, who is the president of REMPART from France. Until I have a microphone, I would like to start by asking the first speaker how we will moderate this session. First, we will be having some presentations from our esteemed speakers. So I would like to start with Dr. Heba Abdel-Aziz from RKWH in Bahrain, who will be talking about Socotra, I believe. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is the blessings of having the keen people coming straight after lunch. So I'm sure that I have a very attentive audience. Thank you very much for being here today. And as Zaki kindly introduced me, we are from the Arab Regional Center for World Heritage, known as ALIPH. And I will be just briefly really chose a couple of case studies that really highlights the issue of how the center is dealing with the issues of climate change and dealing with heritage in the Arab states. Maybe just to quickly mention briefly about the Arab Regional Center. We celebrated recently our 10th anniversary. The center was established in 2012. with a generous funding from the Kingdom of Bahrain, with the mandate of supporting the implementation of 1972 Convention in all the 19 Arab states. So we do different interventions, either independently, but in most cases we collaborate with, of course, ALIPH. We collaborate with all the advisory bodies. As we speak, we have 2 capacity building workshops taking place, one in Saudi on underwater cultural heritage and one in Bahrain on actually risk and disaster management, specifically talking about climate change. So we have a wide range of workshops, capacity building, working with involving youth and a number of other activities that are of relevance to what we are discussing today. So yeah, I mean, the center, as I said, is we have a very active website, and you can check further all our activities. I don't want to divert away from our my brief for today, and I would like to really discuss with you, of course, the whole area of capacity building, which is the main mandate of the center, is very much about raising the capabilities of the local communities to deal with different aspects of cultural heritage and natural heritage management. I think maybe, I don't know if I'm being very controversial, but the concept of dealing with the impact of climate change is like really dealing with everyday life, because we are living this. There is no special, in a way, there's no special way of dealing with climate change, because we are in climate change, so we are dealing with everything that is facing us, and we have done a few projects in that respect. I chose to talk to you today about Socotra and Yemen because primarily we have received, we've been working very closely with ALIPH on that project and also with some other partners. So we have a range of projects that took place in Yemen and in Socotra. And if I just take you to, this is just gives us a quick overview of the projects that we have implemented so far. So we have traditional land management in Socotra that took place between 2020 to 2021. And this is really focused on, you know, working closely with the local community to manage the impact. I mean, this was initiated specifically after the 2015 and 2018 huge cyclones that hit Socotra, and has led to severe deterioration. I mean, today I'm talking to you about the natural heritage, but of course there was also effects on the cultural heritage. I'm sure all of you know that Socotra was listed in as World Heritage in 2008 under criteria number 10, so specifically focusing on the natural heritage, but the island is very rich also with cultural heritage elements. We also worked closely with the Royal Botanical Garden and the British Council on the issue of socioeconomic development with regard to the handicrafts available in Socotra. We run a couple of training workshops in that respect to support the local community in terms of socioeconomic development. We also had another project, which is the nursery project that was specifically concerned with having a dedicated area for the protection of the different flora that is so unique for the island, and to protect this particular flora, whether the dragon trees and any, which is the most famous, of course, but many of the other species that were there. Also, this include the mangrove management in the island, where we were preparing the seedlings to replant the mangrove, and in the areas that was completely washed out during the cyclone. All of these projects have now been completed. We also worked very closely with ALIPH on two other projects that were, so the previous projects where we had emergency assistance fund from the World Heritage Center. We worked with the Royal Botanical Garden in Edinburgh, with the British Council. So we always try to work, because we were there, you know, in the region, and we had actually one of our member staff is currently based in Socotra to help the implementation of these plans and to help with passing on that knowledge to the local community. We worked very closely with ALIPH on two projects. One was the rehabilitation, two phases for the rehabilitation of the city of Shibam, and one project for the rehabilitation of the Shibam souk, where it was, you know, reopening the shops and allowing again the local community to work in effectively and regain their socioeconomic project. This is just some pictures that you could see with the involvement of youth in the plant in the nursery project that really looked after all this flora species in Socotra, and it is now up and running. We also have the mangrove, which, as I mentioned, managing the loss that occurred due to the cyclone at that time. And this is some pictures of our city, the restoration of the city of Shibam. You could see here my colleague Salma, who was with us, and she was leading these projects. She is also personally from Yemen. So the restoration of 18 damaged houses. I here would like to stop at the area and re-look again at the relationship with climate change. What we do there is that we work, I think in a way, the difficulty in reaching Yemen, this is of course in Yemen, not in Socotra, in Shibam. The difficulty that is due to the current circumstances of conflict that might make it difficult to reach the cities where we're working on has allowed us to really work with the local community and to pass on this knowledge. Maybe in other circumstances we would have had somebody coming from somewhere else or whatever, but it was really good because we were in a way forced to really work with the people who know the most about the area, and it has been very successful. Also, this is the restoration of the souk and the restoration of the shops that are there. So what I wanted to say is our work, especially, of course, I wanted to just show you all of this. The last two projects were in collaboration with ALIPH, and we were funded by ALIPH, and we worked with the local community, with GovC and other colleagues in Yemen for the restoration projects in Shibam. What I wanted to really highlight, and I know that I'm running out of time, so I had 7 minutes or something like that. So what I really wanted to say with regard to climate change, especially at World Heritage Sites, because this is really our mandate, is that we have a chance to really have a pilot, especially in places, if you look at Socotra, for example, that is self-contained in a way. We have an opportunity to really implement the monitoring process of what's going on, and also to do mitigation and adaptation, because of course it's contained. We can try to observe what all the changes that are currently happening, and really observe the impact of the work that we do on the island, and hopefully to roll it out to other areas that have been affected by climate change, so in terms of recovery or in terms of adaptation or prevention in other areas. So we really look at World Heritage Sites, of course, because of their importance internationally, but also because they could be great examples, great pilots to showcase what we can do in certain areas. I think I will leave some parts to the discussion later on, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Heba, for this introduction to the work that you've been doing. It attracted my attention, actually, when you talked about traditional land management, but also that site which was listed under Criterion 10. And this morning we were talking about the tangible and the intangible. Criterion 10, for those who are not familiar with World Heritage, is the intangible aspect of heritage. So it actually emphasizes the point where we have to learn from also the people and the traditional knowledge that exists. And the case of Shibam, of course, building techniques, I'm sure we'll get back to this, but we are, I think, going to talk also about the role of communities and how they can help in this land management in particular in mitigating or adapting to climate change in this particular place. So thank you again, Dr. Heba. I'm sure we will be talking more about, and in fact, I should take the opportunity to say that we have also a net zero project led also by my colleague Aparna Tandon at ICCROM. That could be also a good way of establishing links as to how, we are addressing also these issues as advisory body to the World Heritage Convention. Thank you again. I think now we're going to move to our next speaker, and these are just introduction to instigate discussions, and then we will come back to the substance and the real matter of things. So I'd like to invite Mr. Mohammed Al-Hassan to make his presentation.
Bonjour, thank you, Dr. Zaki. C'est pour moi un honneur ici.
It's a pleasure to be here, to be in the name of my community. My name is Mohammed Al Hassan. I'm coming from the Niger. It's very interesting today to take part in this assembly and to talk about issues that are of interest to the locals. I will talk about the Niger. The Niger is a neighboring country to the Al-Sahel, to the area Al-Sahel, and has suffered from migration. We think that we are like we have a country that has what was in armed conflicts, and now it's booming. The conservation of the heritage is one of the main point of interest in the Niger, and the evolution and the progress has achieved didn't happen without difficulty. We've suffered from the lack of scarcity of water. We couldn't find water and the climate change is affecting a lot and heavily affecting the heritage in Niger. Voilà the city of Agadez. The area is 1,700 square kilometer. It's a huge area, and it is made up of many areas that are very wide. So it is very difficult to have access. To have access to the areas in the north, and within in the context of the plan, the long-term plan of the government, we are working at a long term, and we have working as well on the restoration and the art crafting, and whether for material or immaterial heritage, and what we have doing is to raise the awareness by conducting workshops and reunions, so we can engage the local communities and the citizens. And this is how we try to find collective solutions and collective engagements. We have specific problems for each area, and we try to tackle each of them according to to the conditions or to the context or the environment there. And there is a lot of extreme weather conditions, like storm, like sandstorm, and so forth, and that's making lives vulnerable in the Niger. We are trying to introduce the technology and by embracing the future, and how we can create ideas for the human being who living in Niger, in a very wide country. How can they use this technology in order to conserve our heritage? We have talked about the methods and adaptation approaches. This is a subject for discussion, and we have collated them, or they have been inspired by our experience in order to lay them out. And we have found that these points have been feasible into bringing or into figuring out how to solve some of the problems. These problems they started first before the climate change, and we needed to work around these sites, and in order to to set up measures to prevent and to resolve these problems. It would be even easier if we can avoid or take preventive actions in order to forbid them from occurring. So we are now at the last final of the projects, and we are close to set up final touches on our solutions to tackle some of the problems. A lot of youth has engaged into this restoration works, and this has helped in order to prevent migration. We are keeping these youth in their lands, on their areas, so they can build confidence into staying and not to immigrate. The heritage is also a protection for the future generation. This is how the youth are working with all generations. They are now speaking common language, and we have managed to passing on this new communication. We have and our houses that you are used to be or are known for being vulnerable to floods and to rain. Now we can see the youth, how they are engaged into restoring these houses to their normal situation, and OSCE, the research needs to improve and to build on the traditional methods in order to come up with modern and sustainable situation for solutions for this for our problem. We have managed to safeguard some houses that are let's say in the risk of falling, or and in order to be able to prevent these houses from falling, collapsing, we needed to take some measures, help in fortifying their foundations and so forth. And as well, the mausolate, we have used many techniques and promoted these techniques, and we have shared and distributed these experiences, so other houses can benefit from this knowledge, and then to be able to maintain them. And the great mosque Agades as well was at risk of collapsing, but we know that we will be like punished by Allah if we let it happen. So we have to act quickly. So this has the conservation of the nature and of the heritage is a medium for peace and for security, and as well to consolidate these bonds and this relation between the youth and between the local communities and their land. Many times we have said that we have worked with many technicians and many artifacts men, and we have managed to engage all the community. We have trained new carpenters and new builders, so they can, and this is how we manage to attract youth to engage in this positive efforts, and we continue on delivering these trainings, so we have more responsible youth and citizens. We have already talked about documentation. We have under risks of losing these achievements. This is why we needed to document all these efforts, so we can via the restoration we are able to maintain these houses in good shape. You can see in the photo the many types of crepissage has been used in the restoration of houses. This is how they are the facades are coated. This is why we're talking about the coating used for the facade, and that as well as helping to have more isolation to the houses in the Sahel. So bringing together the use and the training and the sharing of knowledge and the decorations and the restoration. These are the results of or the impact of all these efforts. You can see in pink and in red the improvements, and this is how this is characterized the works of groups. This is as well our we can convey our recognition for your helping and for ALIPH for what she did in the Niger.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed.
Merci, Monsieur Mohammed, pour cette très intéressante présentation. Aussi, le titre de votre organisation, croire à l'histoire, c'est cet aspect qui informe à propos du futur et comment trouver des solutions.
On important aspects related to the social dimension, the traditional indigenous knowledge, also in building techniques, building with the natural material in place. And what I liked also, we were discussing this morning also, this idea we have to look broader to this aspect when we talk about climate change and conflict, issues related to peace, issues related to social cohesion, and your work in bringing different ethnicities to work together in this place are very important. So thank you again very much. We will come later with questions related how we learn from these experiences to move for the future. So thank you very much. I'd like now to invite our third speaker, Mr. Ra'ad Al-Asadi from Iraq. And I think we will start perhaps with the video first, right? So we can start with the video.
هور الحمار وهور السناف اللي هو جزء من هور الحمار. واحد من أعرق الأهوار بالعراق. الآن هور السناف خلاص جفاف بشكل كامل، أصبح صحراء قاحلة. وهاي بيوت الناس عبارة عن هياكل حديدية على مود يتنقلون وين ما يزحف الماء يزحفون وراه.
These are the marshes in Iraq and has been turned into deforestation and it now an arid desert. Drought is the biggest enemy to our environment. Drought has destroyed our houses and the scarcity of water has destructed our houses and the marshes has been disappeared.
في الشرائح العرض حتى يعرضوهم فإذا
Sorry, there's an issue with the presentation. We have an issue in displaying your presentation. So can we move to the next speaker?
George to talk about REMPART, the institution, also their work worldwide in this area. And I hope we just try to be as short as possible so that we have time to move to the next questions and open the floor also for some discussions if possible.
Okay, thank you. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs, chers amis.
Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, who is a REMPART? It's a national. REMPART is a national organization that has for merit to engage the citizens to work in a collective actions concerning the heritage, and we have like 200 subsidiary working in different parts of the country. We have built connections and relations with more than 51 partner in different countries. All our partners are locals, and they have put much importance for the conservation of nature, of heritage. Was it a castle or a boat, a train, or anything that can be called heritage? They all cherish values that is related to the restoration of the heritage, and as well to other elements like education, social, philosophy, humanitarian, or digital. This is why we have figured out, come down in the field of heritage, not only the effects of climate change are important, but we work within our structure collectively to respond to the challenges that we are facing at this level. The heritage present the main means of finding solutions and to integrate in the practices that are adequate to adapt with the climate change. We think that we are effective in this field, and that we are confident that to be effective in this domain, we need to act collectively. So the landscape, the historical sites, the natural sites, as well, and the ecological transition, while conserving the ecosystem and the species, and by safeguarding the diversity of biodiversity and fossils. And we think that the landscape and the built heritage and have the capability to reconnect with the nature, but mankind must recenter and focus about its human and cultural heritage. All this plays a very important role in formulating or elaborating the identity, and as well to safeguard the memories. These are valuable means to transmit or to pass over the identity and the values. So we work as well on finding or promoting sustainable solutions. We don't or prioritize the local transport. We need to work with stakeholders that are on the field and to use recycling and set up the ethics for recycling construction materials, also by engraving and shaping up the stones, or and to recuperate as well the material, and recycling. See and to use of law and it can be used as after recuperating rain water. We can use it 3 times, and aussi we can use this water either pour mélanger le ciment et pour les travaux de construction. Donc, for us, we need energy, and our energy we need to take to take into account the work of the contribution of the collectivities, and to reduce our vulnerability to climate change. It means reducing our exposure to this climate change actions. So the rock, the wood, and all these materials are at the intersection of the past with the future, and then the reuse of this material in a responsible way can lead to establish a sustainable future for humans. What we have said is it's not like reinventing the wheel. We are not reinventing the wheel, but there is still populations that are oblivious to the fact that they are bringing damage to their heritage, and how this can have bad effects on their lives, and so our role is to motivate, to encourage, and to engage all the stakeholders, and by promoting and reinforcing the capabilities and the skills of the local communities to take constructive measures, engaging the citizens, allowing them to have more say in the actions to take, and putting and engaging them into using the equipments, and by training them can give them a bigger role. And this is how we, and as well as ecological studies and the environment impact is as well some of the studies that we do surrounding the sites where are the monuments. So we are formulating or elaborating common points, common concerns, and common values. The heritage are the product of our past, as well our mean to get exposed to new experiences and to reflect our well-being. It is fundamental and essential, and we know that the coexistence and the booming of the society is based on how we take care and how we take care of the well-being of our heritage. And with humankinds are by nature attached to their heritage, and they have the responsibility to pass that on to the future.
Our experience in ALIPH allows us to say that its role in the cultural heritage and transmission facilitates exchange and supports partnership. It allows a better knowledge of practices and also the empowerment of local populations. It helps in the cooperation between different experts and from the international domain, because partnerships are one of the conditions for success in this sector. So some directives to sum up regarding the upcoming steps. We have the importance of climate change and durable, sustainable agriculture, supporting the local environment issues and work with local stakeholders to integrate them. Also to raise awareness among the populations and implement education projects to send sensibilization about these and campaigns about the sustainable techniques and preserving the natural and agricultural heritage also in the zones in conflict. Hence, we are aware that the situation in conflict zone might last. So we want to maximize the efforts to have a good ecological transition and to prevent the harm of the cultural heritage. Together, we have to lead this ambition. We have to cultivate our openness to the world and aspire the partners. It's a long way to have to lead, and I still believe and have faith in our will to build, thanks to the heritage, a better world. Thank you.
Marie-Georges, je pense qu'on a parlé.
Thank you, Marie-Rose. We spoke about politics with Andrew Potts this morning, and I think with the directive that you highlighted, we show this importance. You spoke about different aspects of solutions, and you spoke about the sustainable development and the landscape and the recycling and the reinforcement of capabilities and the involvement of society and sharing the knowledge. And I think the cooperation thing that was mentioned this morning is also very important. So thank you so much. We will continue with our colleague.
We'll be talking to our colleague, Mr. Adel Asadi from Iraq. Good evening. Thanks to ALIPH Foundation to talk about the marshes in Iraq. Thanks to Iraq. I am Raed Sadi. I am the director of ecotourism in Iraq. We are a local organization that is concerned with the empowerment of the people living in the marshes or ahwar. So through our organization, we are trying to find some means to help the ahwar or marshes population to stay in their places. For example, we have cooperation with France for establishing desalination plants in ahwar and also to address the pollution and do wasting in al-ahwar or the marshes, but unfortunately it's beyond our capabilities as organization, because al-ahwar or the marshes region, it's suffering from climate change. For example, over the last 40 years, the ahwar or marshes are suffering. For example, in 1970, we have millions of people living there, but now we have zero people living there. No one is living there. So al-ahwar and the marshes are suffering. And also before we used to have 140 cattle of buffalo and cows, but due to desertification we have no cattle and we have no cows there, and also due to political unrest, and also some neighboring countries has built dams which affect the water in al-ahwar, and also the Tigris River are suffering from such changes and the construction of dams, and also we have got reduced share of water. Before, Iraq used to get 1,500 cubic liter of water in a second or in a minute. Now we get only 100 liter of water per second. And now we have the problem of drought and the desertification, and also the reduction of the fertile soil. Another example, Ahwar is one of the biggest waters and water service in the world. And also the people of Ahwar, or the people of marshes, are still using the same tools that were used thousands of years ago. During the drought and the desertification, this is one of the biggest issues. And in 1970, the number of the population of Ahwar is 1 million people, but now we have 5,000 people only living in El Ahwar or in El Marshes area in Iraq. This is the Iraqi Ahwar or Iraqi marshes. It's a very unique landscape and ecosystem. And some people call it the lung, where by which the Middle East breathe. And this is also a break and rest point for the immigrant birds. And also it contains a number of flora and fauna. And one of the most important animals is the water dog, that is known in Iraq, and it's endangered. And also Al Ahwar also is suffering from the change of the habitat of the animals and flora and fauna. And also within the Iraqi borders, they are suffering from drought and desertification due to the construction of dams by the neighboring countries. This is one kind of a species of birds which were endangered, and this is only native to Al Ahwar area or marshes area in Iraq. And this species of bird has disappeared and extinct. And in addition to the fact that the Tigris River, or there's a turtle, which is an animal and very native to the area, has been extinct. Al Ahwar, or the marshes, is the food basket for the Iraq. In 2015, our organization has witnessed the fact that there is a large fish wealth that is coming from the Al Ahwar, but today we have zero wealth of fish. There is no fish at all, and this migration of the fish and the creatures living in the river, they have been moving to other areas, because as you can know, the people and the population of villages, their traditions are different to the people living in cities and towns. So there were immigration of the people from the villages to the cities, and now we have crisis in terms of culture, of economy, and the languages as well, because the population of Al Ahwar have been moving and immigrating from the villages to the cities, and this led to the disappearance of languages, and their native language have changed. Even the vocabulary has been mixed with the vocabulary and words and expressions and the language of other areas due to their movement to new areas or different areas. And also the Ahwar, or the marshes, are depending on natural resources, depending on fishing, hunting, and also the buffalo and the cows and cattle. And the population of Ahwar are moving from their areas. The buffalo is one of the most endangered animals. And before the drought, we have more than 5,000 buffaloes in Ahwar, but we made cooperation with the French government so we can overcome the diseases suffered by the buffalo. And also we have about before we have 35,000 buffaloes, and we used to give service, but it's hard to give service and to take care of such a large number of animals. So anything that took place in a neighboring country can affect our region, and also due to the drought and the desertification, some animals are leaving the area and migrating to other areas. This boat, because the Ahwar population used to use boats as a means of transportation. So it's hard to use this boat. So now we can use cars instead of boats because the water is drying up and there's no water anymore. And also we are trying to do some effort so we can maintain using such boats and also to find other income sources. Here we have an issue. The photo in green color, those are the population of Ahwar in 1970, and they are using natural resources for building their houses, and they are using natural elements for the construction of their houses. Unfortunately, due to the climate change, the population of Ahwar are using plastic for constructing their houses, and we are trying to think about some sources, and also we have the drought seasons in summertime, or to expect the drought. We are trying to establish small projects such as digging wells and excavating wells, water wells, so we can dig wells in such areas, and we are trying to rehabilitate and to get back the habitats for such buffaloes, and we are trying to move from one area to another area. So the means of transportation is boat, because we cannot use boats anymore because there's no water. That's why we change the means of transportation.
موضوع الجفاف وموضوع المياه.
Drought and water is extremely important, especially in the region. So I know this Arab region, so to know the size of and volume of such a problem, will have 15% of water that used to be in 1960 would have the left only 15% of the water that used to be in 1960 will have only 15% of the volume of water now. And also in addition to the migration of animals and other issues as well. I think that in this presentation we will know about the reality and see how we can develop the projects in the future. Now let's move to talk in English.
نسأل بعض الأسئلة الأخيرة.
So we can ask a final questions. Thanks to Mary George because she was talking about her organization.
Quelques lignes directrices parce que ça.
Thank you for speaking of these directives and these specific lines because they show the importance of ALIPH.
From their experience in the work that they have done being it in Socotra, for example, when you dealt with the land management, cultivation, for example, of animals. I know that there is some movement in the summer and the winter, for example, in Socotra, where people move from the lower areas to the higher areas. So there are many solutions like that. Would you like to, with this idea in mind, would you like to advise ALIPH with something perhaps that could be, they could consider in their future projects that they will be funding, related, of course, to such places?
Okay, sorry, it's working already. Thank you, Zaki, for giving me the chance again to maybe elaborate a bit further. As I said, we have been working very closely with ALIPH, maybe not in Socotra, but primarily in Shibam. But in Socotra, it has been funded through the World Heritage Center and also through other donors, as I mentioned. But I really like the idea that you discussed what else could ALIPH do. I mean, I know that Valerie always talk about, tangible action, things on the ground, and so on. And we are very careful when approaching ALIPH to make that, to put that in mind. But as you said, I think primarily crucial to maintaining and to the sustainability of the project that we do physical on the ground is really raising the capacities of the people who are there to be able to deal with this all the time. So to make sure that these nurseries that we set up, or the land management that we have intervened to help it do, to ensure its continuity, you need to hand it over to the local community. And therefore, I feel that one of the things would be really maybe to have a different methodology. Of course, I am very aware of the importance of having things on the ground, but I feel that the capacity building projects is really things on the ground, because it will ensure that these things on the ground will continue in the future and will be managed effectively. I also would like to, I was very much inspired by Raad's talk of introducing concepts like ecotourism. So this is something that we are considering into Socotra to really introduce the concept of ecotourism and integrate it, to give people a way of recognizing that this environment, the natural assets or the cultural assets, is a way of living. They're not just conserving it, for conserving it, but it could generate an income. And I feel that the opportunities that ecotourism offers for such locations is very, very important. And this is our next proposal to ALIPH, so we'll see.
Thank you very much, Dr. Heba. Apparently, we're running very much out of time. We started late, but anyway, we need to catch up a little bit for the next presentations. I would like maybe to ask the other colleagues, perhaps Mohammed. Dr. Heba talked about Shibam, for example. You talked about Agadez, and maybe there is some experience that you would like to share for future projects that ALIPH would be funding of similar nature. How you think you could achieve sustainability and sustainable solutions to when you run such projects? You talked about very interesting aspects, which I've already mentioned, but if you can add to these, it will be great.
Merci pour la...
Shukran. Thank you for the question. It is a very interesting one, really. It's similar to the universal problematic that we have, and this point of view should start from a specific place, specifically the local knowledge. The population plays an important role, and there is an importance to consolidate these efforts and to realize the climate changes and know that these previous methods should be changed. So we don't need new things. We already have. We think, or we. I am so sad to see that some rivers are facing drought, and it is really important not to have an immigration of population. So that's why we have to have social links. We have to create them and develop them to have a sustainable solution. When we spoke about the drought, we in Niger started to prevent them by creating some solutions. We should continue. Thank you, Dr. Hassan.
نعطي آخر سؤال ماري جورج. يعني حالة الأهوار أعطت لنا.
The case of Al-Ahwar, the case of the marshes gave us a vicious cycle. You are in a conflict area. There was some conflicts in this area in the past, and there were so many problems related to climate and also related to politics, and all these problems are interrelated. So how can you see any solution for these problems in the future so as to address the climate change problems through adaptation or mitigation? Thank you. Today, through ALIPH and all the international community, I call all of them to support the Al-Ahwar people. They belong to a civilization of 7,000 years, and the continuity of migration from Al-Ahwar area, this vicious cycle may come to an end. We talk about Al-Ahwar as a history of the past. So today we are calling the whole international community to create and set up some sustainable projects to support the Al-Ahwar people, providing different services, health services, veterinary services, and different types of services that may provide sustainable solutions for Al-Ahwar population, and provide an alternative sustainable solutions for them. The migration of Al-Ahwar people may lead to the extinction of this area. It will be very sad for the whole world, not only the Al-Ahwar people or the marshes people in the south of Iraq. Thank you, Mr. Adil.
Maybe Mary George, since you're speaking of actions of ALIPH, and it's a mission that highlights the action every day. And the directives that you mentioned, what do you think with these solutions or directives can promote the actions of projects for ALIPH specifically? I will be very quick. I have 3 words. First, I'm sorry for Pink Floyd. Yeah, we need education.
And we need cooperation.
If I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Me to thank all the panelists with us today. I think unfortunately we ran out of time. I would wish to have more time, but everybody is telling me we have to stop. But I really enjoyed the presentations, and I think there's much more to talk about and to discuss with the colleagues here in the audience within the next couple of days. So thank you very much, and thanks to the audience for listening. Unfortunately, we don't have any time for questions and answers this time, but I'm sure we will discuss later on. Thank you.